Izuku Midoriya is one of the most sought after characters in his world. After the brutal battle in Season 6, he was rigorously pursued by the Underworld. However, today we'll be putting him up against some of the worst criminals of a different world. I am, of course, talking about the Akatsuki, the infamous terrorist group from the world of Naruto. Known far and wide for hunting down giant monsters whose motivations were completely unknown until our protagonists started making waves in the world. Today we will be seeing if Izuku Midoriya will be able to survive the endless onslaught from the criminal underworld of Naruto, or if these hunters will become the hunted. However, I cannot do it alone. Since teamwork is considered one of the most important aspects of this altercation, I am pleased to introduce my fellow power scaler and my hero enjoyer, Debunk.
Hey, thanks for having me. My name is, of course, Debunk. I was actually planning on making a Deku vs Akatsuki video myself, but I am glad to help out. I am in fact a My Hero power scaler, and I do scale the verse higher than most would. But you'll see just how I get them that high in a second.
Thank you for introducing yourself. And, oh, that actually reminds me. I have not. Hi, my name is Rocksteady World, and I am here to present to you Deku versus the Akatsuki.
Detroit Smash!
Like I said a second ago, my hero is a lot stronger than most people think, and so I'll start with AP. In the second MHA movie, we see the Deku and Bakugo punch away a portion of 9 Storm. When dividing the results by 2 to get the power of each of them individually, we find that Deku can output upwards of 63.8 petatons of TNT. This level of power is actually backed up by both Endeavor generally scaling above the Intercontinental Cruise Missile Explosion, which had an explosive yield of 2.75 petatons, and because 9 can instantly create massive storms while in base, which comes out at 62 petatons of TNT. Deku during the second movie should be somewhat comparable to the likes of Weakened All Might, who would be 60 times weaker and slower than he was in his prime. We know that this should be referring to both power and speed, as One For All is not just a power boosting quirk, but in fact an all-around stat boosting quirk. This would then put base Shigaraki during the final war in the higher ends of Multi-Continental, as Shigaraki is directly stated to be on par with Prime All Might. And in his base here, he could output 3.8 exatons of TNT. 45% Deku is able to damage this Shigaraki, and with Gear Shift, Deku would be able to punch with 5 times the force of his regular attacks, putting him at Multi-Continental Plus. But this is only him with 45% of One For All. With 100%, he would be 2.2 times stronger, which would get him to the low moon levels of power. When it comes to speed, we know characters like Deku and Todoroki can react to actual lasers in the third movie, and we also have multiple characters in the series who have been able to react to the naval laser, which has been shown to function like light on multiple occasions and has also been stated to be light on multiple occasions. I'm telling you all of this because this should then scale to the All For One that Armored All Might fought. The same All For One who got completely blitzed by Bakugo from multiple kilometers away. When calculating for Bakugo's speed, we find that he was moving at speeds of up to 13,800 times faster than the speed of light. And yeah, Bakugo was amped by Gear Shift during this, but that doesn't really matter as it would still scale to Gear Shift Deku, putting him at MFTL+. And that's generally where I would scale Deku. If you want a more in-depth scale, especially for speed, you can go check out my Deku scale here on YouTube. But that's it for me. I'm handing the mic over to Rox for the Akatsuki scale.
This world shall know pain.
Now, let's start scaling the Akatsuki. Starting off, we have the whole team being faster than light. This is because every member is scaling up from Haku, Haku being stated in the data book to be able to move through her mirrors at the speed of light. Obviously, these are later antagonists of our heroes, but if you also wanted to get them another way, you can use Kakashi, who was calced to move at 30% the speed of light in part 1. This combined with the fact he got multiple times stronger and then was only able to contend with the weakest members of the Akatsuki means that each member should be at least the speed of light. This means that the lower tier Akatsuki members are only around the speed of light. I say only lower tier members because this is where we get into the higher speed calcs for the higher members. This includes Kisame, Itachi, Pain, and Obito. These four have something in common, and that is they scale to Killer B. They either have directly fought him or have been portrayed in such a way that it is believed that KCM Naruto would have a tough time in the case of Obito in particular. This is important due to the fact that Killer B has a phenomenal speed calculation in which he intercepts the Raikage, clocking in at 114 times the speed of light, making them massively FTL. Now, we have established the speed of the higher and lower ranked members. Let's get into attack potency. Starting off, the member of the Akatsuki seems to be much more relative in this aspect. They can all scale to the tailed beasts, which have the capabilities to produce island level attacks in the form of Biju bombs, which with each of these attacks being able to produce 64 gigatons of TNT. However, this is not the extent of the win conditions of the Akatsuki. The notable win conditions for the Akatsuki are soul extraction through the use of pain, being able to BFR the opponent in the case of Obito, being able to seal him through the use of the Totsuka blade thanks to Itachi, and even lesser members such as Sasori with the ability to poison him, and even the weakest member of the Akatsuki has a game-changing ability from a ritual performed by Hidan. So it is safe to say that the Akatsuki are an extremely dangerous group and are going to be one of Deku's most challenging fights yet. Hi everyone. If you've gotten this far in the video, that most likely means you have enjoyed this content. I would appreciate a subscription. I am hoping to hit 500 as soon as possible, and I can only do that thanks to you guys. I would also like to give a huge shout out to Debug. He helped me out with the scaling for Deku in this video, and I don't think I could have done it without him. Make sure to check out the channel. He has some really good content. Now, without further ado, let's get back to Deku versus the Akatsuki. Alright now, we have officially established our combatants. We can get into the final verdict. And if you've been paying attention, you will see that Deku has a massive advantage, and the only real way the Akatsuki can win is if they get off their, winning conditions. Which would not only be difficult to set up, but require certain characters, and if those characters were to go down, it would spell out disaster for the entire group. For example, if Kisame were to go down, it would not be as big of a deal, but if Itachi were to go down, Genjutsu is completely lost and no longer providing a win condition, whereas Kisame's chakra absorption not really providing anything useful. And with this established, I don't believe that they have the ability to overcome Deku's massive power advantage. However, I must establish that if Deku does not play this carefully and does not respect the things that his opponents can do, he will die, because he has not shown any sort of resistance to sealment, and he might not be able to resist Genjutsu or having his soul ripped out. I say might because he has resistances to hypnotism in the past, though that quirk is most likely less potent than Itachi, so it is possible for him to break out, but unlikely. And with that being said, this leads me to the final verdict, and that is that Deku will win. However, if he makes a major mistake, he will die. So I would say this is a mid-level difficulty. If I were to give it number, I would say that Deku wins 7 out of 10 rounds. However, I do know that My Hero scaling is currently receiving an upgrade as newer and newer YouTubers dive into it, and I was happy to actually bring one on the show today. But without further ado, I would like to hear your guys' opinion, and I would like to hear what you think of this discussion. I hope to see you all in the future. I hope to see you when I have 500, and I hope you all have a good day. Goodbye, everyone.